Aloha mai kako, and welcome to Inspired by Aloha, a podcast dedicated to making your day a little brighter by showcasing that inspirational people and acts of aloha surround us every day. My name is Amy.
And I'm Shareen.
And I'm Erin.
And we are so grateful that you've chosen to spend a few minutes with us as we get ready to be
Inspired by Aloha.
Welcome back, family, and thank you so much for joining us again today with Shareen, Amy, and myself, Erin, as we are going to be doing our talk story session. And we're going to be doing a little focus on a couple of the podcasts that we recently recorded. And the topics were really all about wellness and about how we take care of ourselves and how you can be taking care of yourself as well. And we kind of are taking care of ourselves this morning, right, ladies?
Yes, we are. We are very earthbound today. I feel like we're very earthbound. We have just, if we seem a little, it's because we just inhaled our doTERRA Shinrin Yoku essential oil.
Say that 5 times real fast.
Shinrin Yoku. And if Phyllis is listening, she'll be like, yeah, that's pretty good. So, but we have our Shinrin Yoku essential oil that we inhaled.
So you just feel like you're in the forest, right?
And look, Shareen gave us these beautiful ʻpatiently leaves.
Yes,
it smells so good.
It smells
I
so
love
good. We're drinking. Shareen and I have. I think we're drinking Wailua coffee. I think that's what I
So
brewed today.
Yes,
And
they have my Olena tea.
Erin has Olena tea.
You're very grounded.
So we're
very grounded today.
We're very.
We may just fall asleep in this podcast. We're so relaxed.
Recent topics have made me think about how I've been feeling, or maybe how everyone's been feeling in this day and age. Rush, rush, rush. Go, go, go. Very, very busy, busy, busy. You know, I don't like watching news because it's negative, right? And, you know, and people are sensitive and there's all of that stuff going on. So I think Jamel's topics on self-care and wellness and her journey through yoga therapy and Phyllis's, talk with us about forest bathing.
Right.
And our experience in the forest. Just reminder of how we need to pause, I think, and take a moment to, when we're not feeling well, to assess, how do we get our bodies, our minds, and our spirits back into balance. Yeah, I think we all get really imbalanced. And so sometimes I think that maybe even technology has made it so that we don't find balance because everything is so accessible.
I think so too. I think my attention span has gotten shorter since when I'm swiping through things, I'm just like, I think I have like a 30-second attention span now. So,
well, they say that goldfish, right, have a 7-second attention span, and
really.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
how do they know that?
I don't know. How do they know that?
Like,
swimming around the bowl, around the bowl. But yeah, so yoga, meditation, forest walks force you to slow down.
I mean, it's funny because we were just making coffee, this beautiful, delicious Wailua coffee, and I'm like pressing the button to make the coffee and it's not coming out fast enough, so things like that.
I'm like, Shareen, stop pressing the button. It needs to warm up.
So that calming, but our attention span is very, we're instant society.
Right, the instant gratification type of thing.
And the yoga, the mind body wellness, the connection to the forest really brought our attention to the realization that yes, you have to slow in order to look at the things and pay attention to the things that are around you and just really embrace it all. So many times we're running from one thing to another, and learning how to just pause.
Right. Do you folks meditate? You meditate? Okay, how do you meditate?
Well, it's guided meditation. So I listen to really short ones in the morning.
Oh.
And it's through an app, and I just listen to it in the morning. It's like 6 to 9 minutes. And that just kind of gets me centered and focused.
That's cool. Do you do that as soon as you wake up in the morning?
Like this. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So I just get my ear pods and kind of plug it in and just listen for a little bit. I was doing it too on my patio. So I'd get out to feel the sun and just get
Right.
outside and hear the birds that you don't normally hear when you're busy getting ready, taking shower.
Wow.
It's just a time to
That's great, though. That's a great
stop.
practice, daily. How about you?
You know, I'm trying to start and stuff, but I think just quieting your mind sometimes, it takes a little bit of practice, but I want to get there. So maybe I'll start with the guided meditation, and that can kind of help you just kind of focus. But I find that even when I do that, sometimes when my mind wanders, like, oh, I have to do this. And then it's like, no, come back, center yourself back. So I think it's part of it is giving grace to myself too, that it's like, you don't have to be a perfect meditator, just try and ground yourself and be mindful. And then, be grateful and just keep practicing. I guess that's why they call it like a meditation practice.
Right.
And
They say
Right.
to start short, right? 'Cause
Right.
especially
Yes.
if you've never done meditation before, to start with a minute and then work your way up to 2 minutes, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I guess we've done that with the students. It's really interesting how that works. I think I only meditate when I'm stressed out. So if I feel overwhelmed, stressed, then I feel like I need to, do something.
Right.
Prayer too in the morning. Sometimes
Oh,
prayer.
yeah, I do that.
People use prayer for that time just to connect and be quiet and just set those intentions or for your day.
Right.
That's a
Yeah.
way
Well, I guess I kind of do that. Like as soon as I wake up, I think about the things I'm grateful for, and I think, God, and just try to set myself up to have a good day. And then sometimes I fall back asleep. So it's like, I'm so relaxed. But yeah.
Yeah, you've done Shareen, you've done quite a bit of work with Jamel in yoga therapy and yoga therapy sessions or meditative sessions that you've done. So yeah, could you tell us a little bit about those experiences, or what do you see, your guests, the guests that have come to your events, and what is their reaction in spending some time in doing that?
I think, the perception of yoga is it's for perfect people, right? And like Erin said, it's a practice, like meditation practice. It's also yoga is a practice. But working with Jamel, she's very just intuitive and putting yourself in a space where you're actually relaxed. And we go through life sometimes with our shoulders up, right? Our shoulders up towards our ears, and we're carrying all that weight. Through yoga and yoga therapy, you just learn how to relax that and let that go. And also think in your minds, get rid of all that negative thoughts of not what our bodies can't do, but really look at what our bodies can do. And I think with Jamel, she showed you how it's okay to be you. It's okay to do you as much as you can. And you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. And for me, that was eye-opening. Even though competition is low in my strengths, I still look at what other people are doing and like, am I doing it as well as they are? What do I look like? But it really has brought a calmness by looking at caring for mind, body, and spirit through yoga. And restorative yoga is more about using poses, but just letting your body, they call it melt. And if you feel it, you feel your body just relax. And it's just such a great feeling to know that you're just letting it all go. Yeah.
I think now that we're talking about yoga again, I think I said it after we talked with Jamel, like, I should really try it. And then I really didn't. And then I think again, like, I should probably try it again.
But you did it. You did it at the Malama event.
I did. I did. It was very relaxing. And I think what Jamel said that was very like, it was reassuring for me was, everyone know your body. And everyone has their limitations or what you can or cannot do. And there's adjustments. She said a good yoga leader will help you to have different poses to adjust to what your body can flex or cannot flex, or because I was joking about how my tummy gets in the way and I can't do what that lady's doing, because my stomach's in the way and that feels very uncomfortable. But not realizing, that there's an alternate pose or alternate stretch that you could do with the same results,
Yes.
with the same stretching results or the same benefit. And I had never seen that. I guess because I've only gone to a couple of yoga classes with the really yoga people, with the the really yoga people. I mean, like with the man next to me, I'm like, wow, it's like plastic
flexible.
man. He's a plastic man. I'm like, how do they do that? And you're right. You think that I don't have competition, but I think like you can't help but look and go, wow, how do they do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I am certainly not doing that. So
It's the freedom to do you as much as you can and not have to worry about anything else.
yeah, but the relaxation point, I think,
Yes.
in our busy world, it's a good thing to do. Yeah.
You know what I find about all of these types of wellness practices is that they benefit the individual most when they're really connected to the aina, when you're outside. I mean, you just feel different when you're grounding or when you're at the beach or, in the trees on the mountaintop or whatever. It's like, when you take these types of practices and you put yourself outdoors with the sun shining, or even if it's raining, like I love rain and stuff. So like whenever you're with the elements, it just amplifies it so much more. I think that's why the forest bathing really resonated with me too, because it was an intentional act of being outdoors and pausing outdoors and really appreciating the trees and the wind and the dew and the ants and the mosquitoes and and just really appreciating everything that was surrounding us and all the senses that it was stimulating in us. That was really nice.
Yeah. I think when you first said, hey, let's go to forest bathing, I was like,
What's that?
What is that? and then Camden and I were joking about, do we bring our loofah? And our little back scratcher towels. Yeah, so bad. And I think we were the ones that were the most emotional at forest bathing. That was pretty funny. And it's weird, when you intellectually think about the experience of forest bathing, when you're out there, you're like, why am I so emotional? But there's a connection, right? And I think Phyllis does a beautiful job in guiding you through that whole experience. It really didn't feel like we were out there for 3 hours.
No.
At first I was like, 3 hours of walking slowly through the forest? I didn't think Shareen would make it because she's on the go all the time. But when we
did well. You did really good, Shareen.
But when we went through it, and then I was sad that it was done. It was like, what? It was so good, And I had never been to Lion Arboretum, so in my memory that I can remember. So it was so pretty there.
Did it change your outlook on anything, like the way you saw trees or anything, after the forest bathing experience? Was there any after effect from that experience for you folks?
I think I find that I appreciate what I see around me when I walk. So now if I I should go exercise, but I don't. But when I do walk up here in Mililani, I don't put my earphones on anymore.
Oh, that's
and I try
good.
to walk away from the road so that
Right.
I can hear the wind or see the birds. And I think I appreciate that more. Or even for me walking on campus, Kapiolani is so beautiful, and for me looking for the Manu Oku or
Yeah.
that kind of thing, I think I can appreciate that. I even appreciate getting a bird poop bomb every now and then because there's a lot of birds, and
It's really
some-
impacted you
yeah.
in a positive way.
Sometimes they do poop on me, but but appreciating what's around. It makes me kind of want to learn more. I mean, I haven't made any effort to learn more, but like in Oli or in Hawaiian Story, they talk about the names of the wind and the mountain and the rain, and I find that really fascinating. So when a practitioner teaches about where we are and what rain this is and what wind comes down from this mountain. I find that to be really, really interesting. Makes me want to learn more and realize that, oh, the wind and the rain that I feel in my hometown is different from the wind and the rain that I feel at my workplace.
We should research that and find out like our rain and our wind and in our ahupua.
You know, I just had a practitioner teach us that kama'aina, you are kama'aina to your aina where you live, right? So if you are from Kaneohe, then you are kama'aina to Kaneohe. And when you get in your car and you go to Costco in Iwalei, you are malihini again because you're not from that is not your place of origin.
Right.
So if you go then if you live in Kaneohe and then you're kama'aina to Kaneohe, but you go to Longs in Kailua, then you are a malihini in Kailua. And so I was laughing because I never thought about it that way.
Because the meaning of malihini is visitor,
right?
In a sense, right?
So
you're
when
a
you
visitor.
leave the place of your home, you know, you're technically a malihini. You know, so the lesson was that we are all malihini,
Right.
in our day to day when you go to different places in the true meaning of that word and where your connection to your aina is where you're from. So, I mean, loosely we say kama'aina is kama'aina, you from Hawaii, right?
Right.
But so that was like, oh, that's funny, you know. But then she said, oh, but if you go to Longs in Kaneohe, then you still kama'aina. I was laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh. But that connection, right?
What a great way to look at it,
The
though,
connection
right?
to space is
Oh yeah.
so interesting. I remember before we had our refreshment, we gave some tea to the forest. And so did she have me do it or did I volunteer?
You volunteered.
I did.
volunteer.
Yeah, I volunteered. And then
Amy
yeah,
always
and then
volunteers.
I remember taking the tea and you had to find a place to pour your tea to the earth. And I went to this tree and I just started crying. And I was like, oh my goodness, you know. And I remember Phyllis going, oh, it's so wonderful. I'm like, why am I crying? I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm just a sensitive person. But that was such a wonderful, you know, experience.
And it's the connection, right? We get the tea from the earth, and our bodies are going to be nourished by that tea. And so we want to give back to say mahalo the land for all the goodness and greatness that it gives to us.
Yeah.
I remember I had the manu, the little bird that was up in the tree as we were like doing our tea ceremony, and was just up there just looking at us
It
and
kept
just
following
hanging
us.
out. Yeah, and just like singing its little song and stuff. And
He
Yeah.
blessed me.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You had the poops. That's right.
But that was really a really fun journey, and I think Phyllis just is so good at it. She's such a great guide.
Yeah.
Even just the way she speaks, it's so
It's so soothing, calming,
and
soothing.
like we're all like,
and then there's it's just the simplest things that she says that makes you think, and it's all personal reflection, and she lets you be in that space.
right,
So there's a lot of silence,
right.
and it's good silence
Yes.
because she would talk, and then she wouldn't talk. And then you have to sit in that silence and reflect, and you know, forces you to slow down and really be present. So I thought that was really cool.
And it's hard to sit in silence, to sit in your own silence and silence your mind and all the thoughts that you have, to be present in that one moment. And in the forest, you were able to, once we got over, you know, go slow, quieting your mind and just being there and feeling and experiencing everything within the forest, then it was truly impactful.
Yeah.
You really do notice and hear so much when you silence yourself, you know, and I think that was a really big lesson for me in that experience too, that you can apply to your life in just even interactions with people, with loved ones, coworkers, and just taking a moment to just be silent sometimes and allowing space for others to share more, or even allowing time for you to kilo, to observe what's going on, I think that idea of slowing down and just being present, not just in that one forest bathing experience or in that one yoga session, but applying it to the rest of your life, that's a huge lesson. That was a huge takeaway for me.
And they say that pause, right? To take that pause. And sometimes we don't take that pause to stop and just be for a moment. Or even when we're thinking or communicating with someone and someone's telling you something and you just want to respond right away, it's take that pause and think and really hear and really listen to what they have to say. And that's, you know, then when the quiet and when maybe the knowledge comes into us as to a memory or a thought that we can share with someone else.
You know, I think back to our parents, right? And all of our parents worked so hard to give us the lives that we have today. And I just think, I don't know if my parents ever had an opportunity to take pause. I mean, maybe their pause is when they took us to the beach or we went camping, and maybe they had their private moments. But, you know, in some ways, it's kind of a luxury, but also a necessity for us nowadays to be able to carve out time for self-care. Because I'll be honest, I feel like my parents worked so hard. I don't remember them doing self-care too much. I don't know. Did your parents do self-care?
I can't think of anything in my memory that intentionally that they did.
I think it wasn't called self-care back then, right?
Yeah.
Because that was a luxury, if you
Right.
would. But like fishing, going
Right.
fishing
Oh, yeah, maybe,
or
yeah.
going
Right.
to the beach.
So I don't know
It's
if like,
just-
you know, working in the yard, in the garden was something that they needed to do, but maybe it was therapeutic at the same time.
Right.
You know, we used to work on my grandma's farm. It was hard work, but I don't know if maybe being, you know, individually out doing your own job on the farm was in itself a pause. You know, like for my parents who were so busy, right? It gave my mom a break from the kids, and, you know, my dad time in the fields. You know, maybe that was a good thing.
Right.
You know, as kids it was just fun, but it was hard work. But you know, but as an adult, maybe that was healing in itself to be in the element. Yeah, because there wasn't a lot of time for
Right.
like, let's take a pause and go to the beach and just relax and focus. No, it was they were never.
It was more like, get in the car, we're gonna go beach.
There was never any time for
Get in the
that.
car, we're going
right?
hiking. That's true, though.
Because-
Right. I mean, we actually, as a family, we went, you know, to a lot of outdoor things, you know, and when I reflect back on it, I think it's because they were free. So it's like, you know, like
yeah.
hiking is free or going to the beach is free, but that was also kind of our family therapy, I think, right? Just playing in the ocean, and, you know, you put aside whatever arguments you're having with your sisters or whatever, because we're all just outside and having fun, right? So I guess there was always opportunities to connect with the Aina, of course, right? And opportunities to kind of refuel and rejuvenate, even in our parents' generation. And you're right, maybe it just wasn't called self-care,
Right.
but they didn't have a label, they just did it,
right.
right?
Yep. Go fishing, go to the beach, go camping.
Yeah.
Go
Things
camping.
like that.
Because I find even today, like, so I work in town, and sometimes the traffic is just horrendous. And I sometimes think, wow, I could be halfway to California in the amount of time I spent on the road today. And so sometimes on my day off, I don't like to leave my town. I don't like to leave Central Oahu. Just going to stay here. I don't want to go into the city because I need space. Like,
Yeah.
right? I need quiet. I need space. I don't want to, I don't want to deal with all of that. But there are spaces in town. I mean, when we went forest bathing, it was
Beautiful.
Manoa, but it was like
Manoa's so pretty.
so right up the road from Honolulu. I remember telling Phyllis, wow, it's just amazing that you could be in a space of such quiet tranquility so close to Honolulu.
So, like, when you folks need a place to rejuvenate or heal, like, where's your go-to place to kind of recharge?
Oh, I go into my medicine cabinet.
Oh, no.
That's not. Yeah.
That's a different
That was
episode.
a joke. That's a joke. Oh, that's a good one.
For me, while you're thinking,
Yeah, Amy has a very pensive look on her face.
I mean, there's a few places, but I think one place that I really, really long to be at, and it might sound a little bit morbid, is where my grandparents are.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's called, we call it the Flower Park. And because
Oh, that's so sweet.
That is so sweet.
because it's just so quiet and it's so serene, and so I love just going up there and being with them. And
Yeah, you guys would picnic up there and
yeah,
stuff, right? Yeah, you
yep,
guys would like have
yep.
potluck
Just
with
go
your
and-
grandparents at the graveyard
yeah,
and stuff.
just
Yeah.
bring my mat and sit there. And sometimes it's just me, because when I bring other people with me, they try to rush me through it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not done yet. You know, so a mat, an umbrella, some flowers, and just an opportunity to sit there and reflect on memories with them, reflect on what's happening, and then just have a sort of peace of things that are happening in my life. But it's just
That's nice.
quiet.
Yeah.
No one's talking to me. I mean, there might be other people there, but you can see the little birds getting the little leftovers that people leave sometimes for their loved ones. But I love being up there. So that's a place that that brings peace for me
Nice.
and calm.
That's great. Oh, I like that. Oh, how about you? I'm still thinking.
I would say I think I have two places. So when it comes to just like cleansing, like if I feel like just very heavy and I just want to cleanse, the ocean is always a go-to. Doesn't matter where. I don't have a particular, like just feeling the sand, going in the water. That's very cleansing for me. And I love being at the ocean at sunrise or sunset. I mean, those are the times that I like most. I love dusk. So that's really good. And then the other place I would say is Ke'ivaheo, IBA Heights Loop Trail, like up there. I think that's probably just tied to nostalgia as well, to my childhood memories, because we lived in Halava area, Foster Village area. So whenever we went hiking, we always went up to the IBA Heights Loop Trail, and so that just has a lot of family mana up there, a lot of memories, and like the smell of eucalyptus to this day just reminds me of my family, and it reminds me of that space. And I remember one time going up there, and it wasn't on the hike, and it was like just like up on the drive to IBA Heights. So you're in that area, but there's this section of where there's trees and you can kind of pull off to the side of the road. I remember going there, and you're just surrounded by these huge, huge trees that have been there forever, seems like, and the eucalyptus and everything around you. And it just felt like, okay, this sounds kind of corny, but it just felt like being surrounded by ancestors. That's what it felt like. And it was like the sun was setting, so there was like an orange glow that was cast on all the trees, and it was just me, and it just felt like, oh my gosh, they're like all here. And and it was very comforting, and it was very emotional. And so I think that just made me feel like things are going to be okay. They're not going to always be easy, but things are going to be okay, and you're never going to be alone. And so that's like that's a special place for me.
Wow,
Yeah. So
that's cool.
did you think of anywhere, Amy?
Well, I think I love the ocean. In my in my 20s, I would, when you're in college or when I worked in Waikiki, it was easy to enjoy a sunset down Waikiki or Ala Moana. As a older adult, like, I'm a bit allergic to the sun, so as much as I love going to the ocean, it's sometimes it's challenging, because I'll break out in rash or whatever. But the ocean is calming. I think of when I was working on Kauai, and we would do hiuvai, our cleansing, spiritual cleansing in the ocean. It was just always very, very memorable, transformative, actually, when you go through those kinds of things. I remember on our forest walk, the smell of the forest really brings, like you were saying, Erin, brings back those childhood memories of being in Kaneohe and working in the land in my grandma's farm, which was nestled into the Ko'olau mountain range, and it was just so beautiful. So there are some forest scents, like like this, like doTERRA oil that I keep smelling. But it's those forest scents that bring back those memories, and they're fond memories. So that question that you asked makes me ponder, like, oh, I should do more of that, right? Intentionally, right? Intentionally find the time to go to, maybe it's Ho'omalohia Park, right? Or go to the ocean at sunset, right? Or sunrise. Okay, no, I'm not a morning person. So sunset, right? When the sun is not so hot,
I'll go for a sunrise.
so that I don't get the itchies, but can enjoy the ocean. So yeah, I think when I was stand-up paddleboarding, that was just so beautiful. The sound of the water. Like, I love to be on boats because I love the sound of the water as it laps against the boat.
You don't get seasick?
No.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I know.
That's so good.
So the sound, the sound of the waves and the water and all of that is just I love that sound. It's very soothing.
When we were little, like, my dad would take our family to Bellows, and sometimes we'd go camping, or we camp actually more at Hau'ula side, but at Bellows they have cabins. And so I remember, like, I would always get up early, and actually I don't know why I didn't get in trouble. I probably should have gotten in trouble, but I would just get up early on my own and go out to the water, or sit on the sand for sunrise when I was little. And when I think about it, like, man, I had the foresight as a little kid to go out, wake up super early and just listen to the waves. Like, I wouldn't go swimming or anything because it was dark still yet, but just to listen. And there is something very therapeutic about just listening to, like how you're saying, Amy, like the water lapping or the waves, So there's something therapeutic about that.
Yeah. I think the other thing that was very insightful for me, in this series of wellness, was realizing that these are, like, whether it's yoga, or whether it's meditation, or whether it's forest walks, those are they're intentional, and they're practices that that you can do over and over and over again. And I think it's, maybe even if you don't do it all the time, like, say you don't do forest walks every week, but if you intentionally make a choice to do that, periodically, is wonderful. Whether you go with a guide or whether you go on your own to your favorite place, is important. To understand that yoga is beyond just an exercise, right? Or a class, and that through Jamel, that yoga therapy can be a whole program of wellness. And the things that she does in helping people balance their lives, get well from illness through not just a practice of yoga, but the therapy part that she brings into the mix, which was really enlightening for me to learn about. I like holistic wellness. I think that Western medicine is wonderful, but I think holistic wellness is a great balance for wellness. And she just really inspired. It was very insightful to learn that from her. So yeah, so if somebody wanted to learn more about Jamel's yoga therapy practice, Shareen, what was that website for her again?
So she's at iamyoga808.com.
Right. Yeah, and she does virtual appointments.
Yes.
And then on occasion she's in Hawaii.
Yes.
She does special events too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then if you have never done a forest bathing walk, you have got to do one. Because it was so awesome. Like, I would love for us to go and do this again.
We should do it again.
Yes, and you can book a tour, even a private event with Phyllis at Forest Bathing Hawaii, and her website is forestbathinghawaii.com. Yeah, just an amazing experience. Now when I see forest bathing, I'm like, oh wow, that's so great. Instead of like, what is that? Yeah, I'm like, wow, it's so good. So let's be intentional in our wellness. Yeah. And keep each other accountable to have aloha for self.
Yeah. There's this one quote that I think it was from William Butler Yeats, and it says, "The world is full of magical things patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper." And that always resonates with me, that it's like, and it kind of happened in our forest bathing, that when we took pause, it was like I saw all these, and I might have talked about this before, but I saw all these things that I never noticed before, like the plants came alive, the trees came alive, and it felt like they were like welcoming us, like, and it sounds really crazy, and it probably is, but you should still just try it, because it's an individual experience. But again, it's that idea that if we quiet our minds and we slow down a little bit, you see things that are always there, but they're patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper, so that we can see and embrace and participate in this life with them. And I love that, I love that experience. So mahalo to the healers out there, to all of those that are trying to help all of us just take pause and to heal and to connect with one another. We appreciate all the work that you folks do to make us better.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank
Mahalo.
you.
Mahalo.
All right.
So thank you again, Jamel and Phyllis, for joining us. And I hope that all of you take the pause and intention to have aloha for self and your wellness.
Awesome. Ahui ho, everyone. Ma lama pono.
Ahui ho.
Malama pono.